Guys, AEW Double or Nothing was last night, May 25th, 2019, and it was a pretty good show. There was a few surprises, turn-ups, excellent matches, and they debuted the new title. Let's break it down and get into it. It started off with the pre-show Battle Royale, and I like the concept of 5 men at once as opposed to one being in at a time. It was nice to see guys I was unfamiliar with, such as Brian Pillman Jr., and learning more of the portrayal of certain characters such as MJF and Orange Cassidy, even though what he does may get old in time. There were also legends such as Glacier, Tommy Dreamer, and Billy Gunn. I also like seeing Shawn Spears, being a former fan of Ty Dillinger. I respect and enjoyed the fact that Dustin Thomas was included in the match. I honestly don't know a lot about him, but I'm sure this must be a dream come true for him. For those who may have missed the show, Thomas is a wrestler that has no legs, but still managed to get his spots in with a 619 and a 450 splash. On a personal note, I also enjoyed Luchasaurus, knowing him as a former Big Brother competitor. There was actually 22 competitors, with the winner being number 21, the Joker, Hangman Adam Page. Next up, it was Kip Sabian defeating Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara I was a little familiar with from Lucha Underground, however not enough to say I know him. But before this match even began, we had Kylie Ray backstage with Leva Bates and Peter Avalon, and they were introduced as the Librarians. I'm not sure where they're going with this honestly, but shout out to Leva. Hopefully she can pull this off, and I'm also not familiar with Peter Avalon. As far as the match goes, it was a great match and a good introduction of these two men. There's a video package for Sadie Gibbs. JR is announced to commentary, and he gets a Goldberg-like entrance, followed by backstage segments with the Elite. They come out to welcome us to the show, and there's a few comedy spots with Brandy Rhodes seeming to come off as the mother of the boys. The show starts off, and it's the national anthem sung by the Jacksons. No, it's not the Young Bucks. No, it's not Tito. It's not Janet or Michael. And no, it's not even Joe and my girl Desiree. It's Chris Jackson and his wife and daughter. Next up, CSU versus Strong Hearts. And it's another opportunity to see some new faces with Strong Hearts, who is a Chinese team of 3 from the OWE. SEU I'm familiar with from ROH and Impact. Of course, this was another really good match with great tag team action to be expected from Sky, Daniels, and Kazarian. All men from both teams looked great. Surprisingly to me, SEU won, as I expected a little shine to go to the OWE promotion. Joining the broadcast now is Allie for the Women Triple Threat. We have Kylie Ray versus Nyla Rose versus Dr. Britt Baker. Brandy Rose comes out in her wrestling gear, and apparently this will now be made into an awesome photo 4-way with Awesome Kong. Big pop for Awesome Kong from the fans. Again, this was another good match with Britt Baker coming out the winner. This match led to me wanting to see Kong versus Nyla Rose and Baker versus Kylie. I think both of these matches could be good as well as very different. They also mentioned Brandy versus Allie is coming up in a future pay-per-view, which explains why Allie is on commentary. Backstage, we see Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho from earlier in the day. Next up, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, a.k.a. Best Friends, versus Jack Evans and Angelico, with Best Friends getting the win. One thing about this pay-per-view, they really showcased throughout the show tag team wrestling. I think doing the things that would set them apart from WWE is a good decision. At the end of the match, as all 4 men hug, the lights go out, and then they come back on, and we see Super Smash Brothers. Lights go back out and get back on again 2 more times, and the 4 men from the match get beat down. I honestly have no idea who Super Smash Brothers are, but here they are. And I guess we'll learn together, since the crowd also didn't seem to know much about them. For our next match, Riho comes out with 2 titles, and she's joined by Ryu Mizami and Hikaru Shida. They are facing the team of Yuka Sakazaki, Ima Sakura, and Aja Kong. I was honestly looking forward to this match simply because of Aja Kong. I have no idea who any of the other women are, and overall the match wasn't that bad. There's a point where Shida has a kendo stick and Aja Kong has a metal trash can. Later, there's a miscalculation by someone during a pinfall attempt, and the bell rang, but the referee says it's only a 2 count. In the end, Ajikong team loses, and your winners are Ryu, and Hiroru. Next up is the match I personally wanted to see and considered a must-see match, Cody versus Dustin Rhodes. Probably the best story-driven match of the night, and hopefully one I can have available to me forever. This is no doubt one of my favorite Dustin Rhodes matches of his career. It started off with a symbolic Cody grabbing the sledgehammer and smashing a familiar-looking throne, followed by his theme saying wrestling has more than one royal family. Earl Hebner is here to referee this match, and Justin Roberts is the ring announcer. Dustin comes out half-painted, and after hearing his after-match interview, I think this was symbolic of him breaking away and breaking out of prison, as he put it, with the half of him painted representing Goldust and Dustin breaking free on the unpainted side. Brandy, of course, gets involved in this match, and Hebner throws her out. When she refuses to leave, Diamond Dallas Page shows up and carries her out. When we get back to Dustin, it shows that he's busted open and the blood's flowing. And at this point, I wanted to hear a classic JR line so bad, but we didn't get it. We get a look at Dustin in the Stone Cold Classic look from the match with Bret Hart. And then later on, Dustin gives Cody a spanking on his bare booty. Then Dustin hits a sunset flip bomb, superplex, and crossroads. Dustin continues losing a lot of blood as the match continues, and then later Dustin seems like he can't continue, and as Earl Hebner is counting, Cody stops the count and hits the crossroads for the win. Cody comes back in the ring and tells Dustin that he can't let him retire because he doesn't need a partner and he doesn't need a friend, but he needs his brother to team up with him against the Young Bucks. It was definitely an emotional match and an emotional moment, and I think it's a moment anyone with a brother would feel especially. JR winds up breaking the emotion by stating he's not crying, he just has allergies. Next up, Bret Hart's out to reveal the AEW Championship. Hangman Adam Page is brought out to the ring, but is interrupted by MJF. MJF takes shots at Bret Hart and even mentions the Hall of Fame attack. Jungle Boy comes in from behind MJF to confront him, and then Jimmy Havoc also comes out. Needless to say, what winds up happening to MJF, and as they beat him away, Bret raises the title up high in the ring. Next up, we had the Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks and more great tag team action. Young Bucks actually impressed me in this match, and Lucha Brothers are one of my top 3 favorite tag teams of the present. Fast-paced, action-packed tag team match, top candidate for match of the night. Lots of double teaming and near falls towards the end that sees the Young Bucks gain the win in an amazing match. While I disagree with the decision, I can see them making the Young Bucks strong to lose to the Rhodes brothers later down the line. I'm also not sure if Lucha Brothers are exclusive, since I still see them wrestle on Impact. The main event, we get Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega. This match was more of a brawl, and I'm glad Jericho and Omega changed the style of the match to avoid being like the last match. Kenny seems to get a busted nose, so there's more blood involved, and still JR doesn't hit the classic line. There are also times when JR and the other announcers seem to talk over each other, especially in this match. At times it also seems like they're talking to each other and ignoring JR, who is talking to himself. Back to the match towards the end, I think they're having the match they wanted to have inside the ring with reversals, top rope maneuvers, and near falls. Jericho hits a code breaker, and then the Judas effect, and Chris Jericho becomes the King of Winnipeg. As Jericho demands his thank yous, Jon Moxley walks through the crowd and gets in the ring. The dirty deeds to Jericho, dirty deeds to the ref, and then he eyes Kenny Omega. He winds up helping Kenny make it to his feet, and he tries for dirty deeds as they wind up fighting through the crowd. Jon Moxley winds up putting Omega on top of the casino chips and the stage setup. He hits the dirty deeds, and then he throws him to the floor in a much more satisfying ending than the last pay-per-view that I watched. One good thing with this show was at no point did I question why I was watching it. I just enjoyed it. There are times with WWE pay-per-views when I think it's running a little too long and I look at the time. While I never expect the pay-per-view to be perfect, at times I question why things had to be on the card, or I have disappointments in the end. With Double or Nothing, I was not disappointed. WWE Money in the Bank had me satisfied. until the very ending. I actually rewatched the entire pay-per-view instead of matches that my stream messed up on, and I can't say what the last pay-per-view is that I'll rewatch the entire thing, especially watching it the very next day. Now, unlike other people, I won't say, wow, this is the end of WWE, because if you look at it realistically, WWE is never going to go anywhere, and it would take years and not just one pay-per-view. However, I'm glad we have something that will hopefully make WWE take notice and up their game. Cody also mentioned later in an interview that they will up their game on pay-per-views, so weekly shows won't quite be like Double or Nothing. So I am curious what the TNT show will bring. Also, Cody said there would be no pay-per-views every month, and not all pay-per-views would be 5 hours long. And I also think that is needed. With WWE, sometimes it feels like it's too much. And while we don't have to watch, I feel like I have to watch it all as a fan. The show was about 5 hours long, I believe. However, it was an entertaining 5 hours, and I can't say that about 5 hours of sports entertainment. Also, I'm glad there was no Joey Ryan, as people questioned he would show up. There was also former NXT referee Aubrey Edwards refereeing a couple of the matches, and I'm also pretty sure I seen Noelle Foley in the audience. Guys, let me know your thoughts, opinions, comments, questions, and let me know if you enjoyed the pay-per-view, if you saw the pay-per-view. And as usual, I'll be back with more videos. Stay tuned.